Leeds United's transfer window is going mostly to plan so far. We started at centre-back with the signings of Biol and Bornau. We signed ourselves a left-back to fill in for Junior Firpo, and now we've pushed forward into midfield, signing Longstaff and Stack to really add a bit of depth and quality, which is two things that you really need in the Premier League. However, there are still a raft of concerns that Leeds United need to deal with in the coming weeks and months, otherwise there's going to be problems in the Premier League. So, slightly itchy nose, sorry about that. In this video, I'm going to cover what those concerns are and why they could be an ongoing problem for Leeds United. However, before I do so, 54% of the people watching this video aren't subscribed yet, which is a little bit of a shame. If you just boop the button down there, that'd be massively appreciated. Thank you very much. Anyway, hopping into it. The first thing that we need to sort, in my opinion, is departures. Now, I understand that we have a lot of other business that we need to do first, but players that are leaving the club and that we know are leaving the club, for example, Joe Gelhardt, Sam Greenwood, Darko JB, Pat Bamford, now apparently Mateo Joseph, are all steps that we need to take in the immediate term. If we hold on to these players for a little bit too long, there is a chance that they lose value as the window goes on. Championship level clubs will end up signing players that they're like, well, I think this is our centre forward of choice. This means that Gelhardt doesn't have somewhere to go. This is our number 10 of choice. That means Greenwood doesn't have somewhere to go. Same for defensive midfield with JB. The sooner we are able to sort departures out, the sooner we're able to get those wages off the wage bill. So we know that Bamford is a significant cost, about 70k a week. We know that combined Gelhardt, JB, Greenwood are something like 54k, something along those lines. And then Mateo Joseph will additionally not be cheap on a week-by-week basis. The sooner we get those sorted, the sooner we are able to reassign those wage costs, get some fees in, and spend them on other players that we are looking at. And I specifically covered this position first because we need to discuss the other positions too, specifically the number 9. If we know that we've got Patrick Bamford leaving, he's been told by Daniel Farke that he isn't part of the plans anymore, and we know that Mateo Joseph is looking to force a move away from Leeds United, and number 9 has become significantly more important. If you think about it, we've got two senior number 9s at the minute. We've got Joel Piru, we've got Mecha. They're both decent number 9s, sure. But behind that, in the event that they both get injured at the same time, which is something that is fairly feasible, then you're down to Harry Gray. Or Dan James at number 9, but we all saw how that happened last time out. Number 9 is one of those positions that's been a little bit quiet for a while, so there was a little bit of a chat about Vanat ages ago. Occasionally, come on, words. Occasionally, the Uche chat will hop up from time to time. There's been a little bit on Taremi recently, but the sooner we're able to sort the number 9 issue, the more comfortable we can be going into the season. Because we've got 3-4 weeks before that. It'd be good to bed them in as much as possible and just make sure that they're nice and comfortable. But a number 9 can't do their job on their own. They need someone to play off of and can't do everything completely independently, which is why we also need to answer the 10 question. The reason I've called this the 10 question is, are we even going to play with a number 10? Now, fair enough, I understand a lot of people will be screaming out and saying that, well, we need to sign a number 10 because that's what you do if you're having a 4-2-3-1 kind of system like Leeds played with last season. But throughout pre-season so far, it's looked very 4-3-3. It's looked very Ampadu, Gruev, Tanaka as your midfield, or chuck in a Longstaff, or chuck in a Stack. Ampadu can also, not Ampadu, Aronson can also play as a number 8. So it's not necessarily the case that we need a number 10, but it feels like the case that we need to have an answer to this question. Specifically, I've seen in the last couple of days the name James McAtee's hopped up just a little bit again. And he can play in wide areas, which I'll cover in a moment's time. But he's primarily a number 10. And I think the big question is around, do we sign one? Do we not sign one? And if not, that's pointing towards a big tactical change for this season. Because I don't think Aronson is a creative number 10 that you can especially rely on in the Premier League. Off the bench, sure. His pressing would be absolutely ridiculous, would cause a lot of mistakes for other sides. But as a starting number 10 in this division, not for me, especially when they need to work as part of a creative attacking unit, including the players in the wide areas. Now, this one I've got down as a concern to be sorted, but I feel like it'll get sorted in the next week or two, because the conversation surrounding Paixão has stayed hot for some time now. There's a hell of a lot of discussion surrounding the Brazilian because Marseille are no longer in that conversation. They bid £26 million, the last I heard, and were rejected, which is a pretty damn good spot for us to be in. That's something like €30 million, and we know that we can exceed that. Go to 30 million quid with some add-ons, and I'm sure that we'll be able to get that deal across the line faster than Marseille could, because we are, in terms of pure cash, in a better situation than they are. But given the friendlies so far, and given Jack Harrison's performances, I would not be happy with him being one of the four options in the wide areas going into the season. Sure, we've got Nonto, we've got Ramazani, we've got James. But we're again a couple of injuries away from Jack Harrison playing on the wing. And when he looked incredibly unimpressive, according to FotMob, he had the worst rating of every single player in the Leeds versus Scum match. And there were 46 players in that game, including a lot of youth footballers and Sam Chambers playing at right back. If we're going into the season and he is genuinely one of the options for a winger, I'm going to be a little bit concerned. And then we've got the really big concern, the one that everyone thinks of when I started this video, let's be honest, and it's the goalkeeper. Ilham Melier will not be trusted by the fans to be our starting goalkeeper next season, and that's completely fair. I wouldn't trust him with that either. And I say this as a previous supporter of Ilham Melier and someone that really wished the best for him. There have been a lot of names floating around in this regard. There's been Lucas Perry, there was Petrovic, there's Dackman, there's Pope, there's Ramsdale, there's Michael Cooper, there's dozens of players that we've been linked to, including in this position. But it feels like we kind of need to commit now, because I don't want us going into the season with Melier either on the bench or in the starting 11, and I think we need to find a move for him as well. But whilst goalkeepers are the position where you can take a little bit of time to bed them in, because at the end of the day, they're not that involved in patterns of play and all that kind of stuff, I feel like a goalkeeper is something that we quite desperately need to do fairly soon to be a little bit more confident. At least that's my opinion on that one. But as always, that is all just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours in the comments down below. If you haven't yet, I'd massively appreciate you subscribing to the channel as well. And you can even be a channel member. You get videos like this one early. It's only $2.99 a month, and it really helps the channel to keep going. After the charity match, I've really got a bit of a hankering for doing more fun events and live things. So being able to fund those would be quite good. So anything you can do to support the channel would be hugely appreciated. Anyway, that's it from me for right now. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.